Hi students, this is P.V.C.K.SUBHASHINI, Senior Lecturer in Mechanical Engineering, Kuli Kudipsha Government Polytechnic, Hyderabad. As you all know, I am dealing with the subject Industrial Management and Entrepreneurship. In the last class, we have studied about what is the reorder level, what is the expression for EOQ, what are the functions of storekeeping, and what are the types of stores organization chart, etc. Okay, so what we have studied in the last class? We have studied about what is a reorder level. What is reorder level? Expression for EOQ, that is root to AP by C, functions of storekeeping, and types of stores and stores organization. So just I want to give a recap of what I have told in the last class. While placing orders in an economic way, fundamentally, it is to be decided as how much minimum quantity can be ordered at a time and when to place such orders without causing any interruption to the production. The inventory control technique, which finds when to place orders, is the system of reordering. It is to be pre planned as to how long the material would last if men and machines work without interruption. When once the period of consumption of material is calculated, it should be seen that no time the machines are kept idle in the shop for want of material. Hence, even before the material is exhausted, keeping in view the number of days that the new order of the material would take to reach the orders are placed earlier to the complete exhaustion of the material. This level of material at which new order is placed for want of material is called reorder level. The time taken by the material to reach the shop after placing orders before the material is exhausted is called lead time. So, I have discussed what are the parameters of inventory control. Maximum stock. It is the maximum quantity of the material that is allowed to be kept in stores at any time. Minimum stock. It is the lowest quantity of stores below which the stock is allowed to fall in normal circumstances. Standard order. It is the difference between minimum quantity and this is known as the economic purchase inventory size and economic order quantity. Reorder point. The level of material at which a new order for the requirement of EOQ is placed. Lead or procurement time. It is the time taken by the material after placing the order and receiving the materials. Reorder level is equal to lead time into consumption. Buffer or safety stock. It is a stock which is not usually consumed in normal circumstances. This stock is utilized to keep the production continuous if the lead time increases under unavoidable circumstances. Cycle time. It is the time between two successive orders. And then I have discussed about EOQ. A problem which always remains is that how much material may be ordered at a time. An industry makes bowls will definitely like to know the length of the steel bars to be purchased at any one time. This length of the steel bars is called economic order quantity, and an economic order quantity is one which permits lowest cost per unit and is most advantageous. EOQ represents the quantity of material to be ordered and purchased at a time. The evaluation of the most economic order quantity to be purchased involves calculation of the following two costs: procurement cost or ordering cost or buying cost, inventory carrying cost. Procurement cost or buying cost. The cost includes the expenditure made on calling quotations, processing quotations, placing purchase orders, receiving and inspecting, verifying and payment of bills, other incidental charges. Inventory carrying cost. This consists of expenditure made for insurance, storage and handling, obsolescence and depreciation, deterioration, taxes, and interest. Economic order quantity is obtained by the quantity whose procurement cost is equal to inventory carrying cost. Total cost is calculated by adding procurement cost and carrying cost. So we have seen about the expression for EOQ. First, what we have done, we have done total procurement cost per year. That is nothing but number of orders placed in a year into procurement cost per order. And next one is the inventory carrying cost per year. Average inventory into annual inventory carrying cost per unit. So the total cost is procurement cost plus inventory carrying cost. This cost is minimum when procurement cost is equal to inventory cost. So economic order quantity is nothing but root to AP by C. Then we have seen what is stores, what is storekeeping, what are the types of stores and stores organization chart. Generally, unworked material is known as stores, and the place where it is housed is called storeroom. Finished products ready for sale or called stock, and the place where they are kept called stockroom. In small factories are concerned, the storeroom and stockroom may be one and under the control of one officer, but in a big organization, both are separate and separately controlled. So, holding all kinds of stores, materials, semi and fully processed goods in custody is known as storage. And the aspect of material control concerned with physical storage of goods is known as storekeeping. The responsibility of stores management is to receive materials, to protect them in storage from damage or theft, to issue the material in the right quantities at the right time, to the right place, and provide the services promptly and at the least cost. Then types of stores. Types of stores. Next comes the raw materials, consumable stores, inflammable stores, chemicals, machinery and equipment, hand tools, furniture, finished products, scrap, unserviceable stores, empties and packages, inspection and measuring instruments, stationery, etc. The structure of the store's organization depends upon the size of the industry. If it is a small unit, a storekeeper with a few clerks and workers manages the stores, but the store connected with a big industry with thousands of items, a store superintendent, a top man, general manager takes the responsibility of the stores. So this we have seen. The storekeeper is a very important figure in the store organization, and he is as much responsible for the articles in his charge as a cashier for the cash. He should therefore take steps to reduce thefts and wastage of material to a minimum. Next comes the stores department and duties of storekeeper. Then we have seen to identify all the items of the stock and plan the store for optimum utilization of the cubic space that is for the stores, to receive all types of materials, goods, and equipment, including manufacturing products in the factory, and record them with the cost. Correct positioning of all materials and supplies in the stores, to maintain stock safety and in good condition by taking all precautions to ensure that they do not suffer from damage, theft, and deterioration, to issue items to the users only on the receipt of authorized stores requisitions, to record and update the issue of materials, to check the bin card balances with the physical quantities in the bins, to make sure that the stores are kept clean and in good order, to prevent unauthorized persons from entering the stores, to inform the purchase department wherever the existing stock of any item is likely to be exhausted for its purchase. Next comes to coordinate and cooperate with the purchasing, manufacturing, inspection, PPC departments. So this we have learnt in the last class. What we have learned in the last class, the level at which a new order is placed for the want of material is called reorder level. EOQ is a quantity of inventory which can be reasonably be ordered economically at a time. EOQ is Q is equal to root 2 AP by C. Functions of storekeeping, types of stores, stores organization chart. On completion of this period, you will be able to know duties and responsibilities of storekeeper, layout of stores, different types of stores equipment, different types of stores records to be maintained, etc. Now we'll be just seeing what are the duties of a storekeeper. To receive material, equipment, and goods, to verify and check the above as per specifications, to keep the material in right place. Next, to issue materials only on proper authorization, to maintain all store records up to date, to preserve the material against theft, pilferage, fire, etc., to maintain the reorder levels of stores. Next, advise the management on day-to-day affair of stores, not to allow unauthorized persons into stores, to check the balance in the bins with a physical balance in the bin, to keep the store clean and in good order, to plan for optimum utilization of the cubic space. These are all the duties of storekeeper. Then comes the responsibilities of storekeeper. Verify and check the material as per the specifications, classify the material and give them correct code number, take precautions against theft, pilferage, damage and spoilage, issue of material. Next, suggest the purchase department about name of suppliers, suggest purchase department about time to purchase, regularize any irregularities detected by verifying authority. Next, location and layout of stores. For quick and easy delivery of materials, items of frequent use should be kept near the storekeeper. Heavy and bulk items should be kept near the exit door. Inflammable materials should be placed very far from main stores and preferably be buried underground. Liquid material should be placed in proper drums, cans, barrels, containers, etc. Toxic material should be placed in well ventilated areas. This is a liquid material storage. Next comes storeroom should be divided into columns and rows. Separate place should be arranged for chemicals, paints, tools, stationery, etc. Articles or of like nature should be grouped. For lengthy and bulky items, open space should be used. Channels, steel rods, etc. Small items are stored in small and closed bins, nails, screws, etc. Toxic material storage. Ensure separate space for receipt and issue counters. Ensure separate space for inspecting staff. Ensure adequate space in between rows. Ensure proper place for fire extinguishers, sandbags, etc. Ensure sufficient flexibility for expansion. Ensure through space around the stores. The common next comes the store's equipment. Regarding this layout of stores, before ending the topic, I just want to tell what actually is a store's layout. After deciding on the degree of centralization of storage areas, blocking out subgroupings of materials, and carefully determining the relative locations of each area, there remains the detailed layout of storeroom space. The internal arrangement of a store's depot is known as a layout. The efficiency of storekeeping depends how and in what way the internal arrangement is planned. A good layout aims at the following: maximum utilization of the available space, greater efficiency of the store's depot, easier accessibility to all the materials, maximum security of all the materials carried and records maintained, greater economy and use of lesser time in receipt, movement, placement and issue of materials, minimization of spoilage, damage, and other kinds of losses. Now we'll just see how to design a good layout fulfilling the above aims. The factors to be considered for the layout of stores are: a section adjacent to stores should be kept reserved. Stores layout should be such that it provides for easy receipt of the storage and disbursement of materials. The availability of floor space is split as receiving section, inspection area, and bulk storage area. Layout should ensure any movement of materials, good housekeeping, sufficient space for man and material. Layout should provide proper preservation to protect from rain, sun, and humidity. Clear and advocate lighting should be there to ensure better working environment in stores. The place should be decided depending upon the type and characteristics of materials. Proper placement of the fire extinguishers, sandbags, buckets to minimize accidents due to fire. Entry of unauthorized persons into the store should be strictly watched. Around the store's building, a thorough passage should be provided for the transportation of vehicles in and out of the stores. Different types of materials are located in different points of stores. They are raw materials are stored near to the first operation. Finished goods are stored in the proximity of finished shipping areas. Inflammable materials such as acids, petrols, stored away in the main store. Cement should be stored in a dry place. Iron beams of heavy cross section are stored in an open yard. Frequently used materials such as bowls, nuts, bushes, washers are stored near the main entrance of the stores. Bulky and heavy materials are stored at the bottom of the racks. And precision instruments are kept in a separate room. Newly arrived material should be stored on the top of the old. Next comes the store's equipment. Since the stores department has to handle an enormous variety of materials, extensive range of storage equipments has become a necessity in modern times. Steel storage equipment is more satisfactory and renders better service than the wooden one. Steel equipments are more durable, stronger, easier to clean, and more or less fireproof as compared to the wooden equipments. It is rather impossible for rats, mice, white ants, etc. to have their approach up to materials kept in steel almirahs, and if they are closed once, they become vermin proof as well. Various storage equipment used in the stores for storing different items are discussed below. Open type removable bins. Materials like MS bowls, nuts, rivets, washers are stored in boxes known as bins. These boxes are kept on the tables with a code number duly marked on the tables. Generally, these open bins are placed near the entrance of the stores as the material stored in them is frequently used. Stock racks with drawer inserts. This rack it is a big almirah with number of drawers, small and costly items which do not move so frequently are stored in these drawers. Code numbers are written on the almirah and as well as on the individual drawers. Racks for stocks and heavy materials. These are open racks which are provisioned to store heavy materials and spare parts, steel pipes, etc. Shows such type of racks. Viaduct storage for heavy boxes. These are open type shelves generally made with viaduct. These are used for storage any heavy boxes or packing material. Next comes the stocking racks for bins. These are generally used to arrange a number of bins on a rack. Each bin may be hanged up with a bin card to know the details of the material in the bin. Racks for bars and pipes. These are open racks means for accommodating heavy rods and pipes of different sizes. It constitutes a stand with arms to receive the stock bar. Heavy section bars are placed in the bottom while the lighter bars are kept in the upper position. Now the commonly used equipment in the stores are rack to accommodate bars, sheets, plates, tires, cables. Bin. Storing items of general nature, bowls, nuts, nails, washers, etc. Closed type shelves. Store small and loose items, hand tools, and pipe fittings. Racks, bins and drawers. Storage equipment. Open type shelves. Used for small boxes of components. Pallets used for storage and transportation. Stocking boxes used to hold standard quantity of components. Pallets. These are pallets. These are the storage equipment, various types of storage equipment. Next comes the store records. In order to maintain an efficient record of stores, the following books and records will be required, and these are maintained separately for different types of materials. First one is the inward and outward register. Next comes the stock register, daily receipt register, issue register, stores ledger, surplus stock register, suspense register, condemned article register, loan register, etc. So now we'll discuss each of them in detail. First we'll go for inward and outward registers. When the material is dispatched by the supplier through rail, he will send its receipt issued by the railway authority called the RRR. RR. On the production of that receipt on railway, material can be received. A separate register is maintained by storekeeper in which daily entries of RR received are made and known as inward register. In the same way, when some material goes out of the store to other place, entries of RR are made by storekeeper in outward register and that RR is sent to the customer by the production of which we can take the material from railways. Stock register. Stock register, there are dead stock or non-consumable register or consumable register. Dead stock or non-consumable register. This is maintained by storekeeper in which entries of non-consumable articles such as machinery, equipment, furniture are made. Consumable register. In this store register, storekeeper maintains record of consumable stores received, such as coke, diesel, oil, kerosene, petrol, lubricants, cotton waste, paints, etc. Daily receipt register. This may be in a register or loose leaf form. Whenever any material comes in the stores, it is entered date-wise in the daily receipt register. Material is then inspected and if found suitable is entered in stock register. If the material is found defective, it will be rejected and either the material or its report will be sent to the supplier. The incidental charges that are occurred will also be noted in daily receipt register. Next comes the issue register. This may be in a register or loose leaf form. All stores issued or entered date-wise in it by storekeeper. From the receipt and issue register, store ledger is prepared by account section. Next comes the store ledger. It is a detailed record of the receipt and the issue of materials with respect of quality, quantity and value of all items kept in store. A separate sheet or card is maintained for each article. It contains name, description, bin number, etc. It records the receipts, issues and balances in hand of each and every article and at the same time of physical verification. Verifying officer after inspection gives his recommendations in the remarks column. Surplus stock register. Sometimes some purchases are made which do not come in use for a long time, say 3 years. Such materials are then declared surplus and recorded in a separate register called surplus stock register. Thus, unnecessarily material is removed from stock register to facilitate easy handling. Surplus stock register. Suspense register. The defective item or items received in excess should not be placed in the bins but in suspense cell and or entered in the suspense register. Condemned article register. Unserviceable material after use or obsolete material which is authorized to be condemned by authorized persons is entered in this register and will be shown as stock until disposed of. Loan register. Sometimes non-consumable materials are issued from store on loan for temporary period by producing a slip of authority. Before issuing, material is entered in this register and signature of the bearer are taken in the register and slip of authority is kept safe. When the material comes back, slip is returned, an entry of the material received back is made in the loan register. Next comes the empty containers and package register. The record of empty containers and packages is kept in this register by the storekeeper. They should be disposed of at convenient intervals by auction or otherwise to the best of advantage. The above mentioned are the various records which must be kept by any storekeeper for easy and smooth handling of stores. So you might have understood what is a stock register. Whenever material comes into stores, it is entered in daily receipt register. Material is then inspected and entered in stock register. Next, store ledger contains description of materials, with the code numbers, addresses of suppliers, purchase order number, quantity received, quality of material to whom it is issued, balance of items, etc. So this is a typical store ledger. So store ledger will contain the name of the articles, what is the bin number, date of transaction, source of receipt with bill number, specifications, quantity received, issued, balance after each transaction, rate and amount. So signature, next physical verification, rate, result, signature of verifying officer indicating obsolete, surplus and unserviceable articles. Next, indent or requisition for the issue of material register. An indent for the material duly signed by competent authority is presented to the storekeeper. Whenever any material is required in any one of the shops, the material issued to different departments will be issued in the issue register. This is a typical indent for material, book number, date, indent number, department to the storekeeper. Please issue the material, work order, and then you'll have section, what is the quantity, weight, measurement, etc. And issued and received. Surplus stock register. This register maintains a record of items which are not used for a long time, that is about 3 years. These materials are declared as surplus and maintained in surplus stock register. The register which maintains defective items or items received in excess is known as suspense register. Condemned article register. The register which maintains the record which is authorized to be condemned by authorized persons. Loan register. Non-consumable material issued from stores on loan basis for certain period is recorded in loan register. Empty containers and packages register. This register maintains the record of empty containers and packages. These are disposed by auction at convenient intervals. So, So in this class we have learned about what are the duties of storekeeper, what are the responsibilities of storekeeper, location of stores, layout of stores and storage equipment in stores. Now, before closing the class, I'll just want to recap what all I have covered for today so that you will try to learn more. So now we'll again try to recap what all I have studied for today. Today we have studied about the system of reordering. Next comes the duties and responsibilities of storekeeper, layout of stores, different storage equipments, what are the types of store records to be maintained, stores layout, how to design a store's layout, storage equipment, store records, etc. So, what we have studied for today. First one is the system of reordering. While placing orders in an economic way, fundamentally, it is to be decided as how much minimum quantity can be ordered at a time and when to place such orders without causing any interruption to the production. The inventory control technique, which finds when to place the orders, is a system of reordering. So, that we have covered. There are some parameters of inventory control. Maximum stock. It is a maximum quantity of material that is allowed to be kept in stores at any time. Minimum stock. It is the lowest quantity of stores below which the stock is not allowed to fall in normal circumstances. Standard order. It is the difference between maximum and minimum quantity, and this is known as economic purchase inventory size or in economic order quantity. Reorder point. The level of the material at which a new order for the requirement of EOQ is placed. Lead or procurement time. It is the time taken by the material after placing the order and receiving the materials. So reorder level is equal to lead time into consumption. Buffer or safety stock. It is a stock which is not usually consumed in normal circumstances. This stock is utilized to keep the production continuous if the lead time increases under unavoidable circumstances. Cycle time. It is the time between two successive orders. Economic order quantity. A problem which always remains is that how much material may be ordered at a time. An industry making bowls will definitely like to know the length of steel bars to be purchased at any one time. This length of the steel bars is called economic order quantity, and the economic order quantity is one which permits lowest cost per unit and is most advantageous. EOQ represents the quantity of material to be ordered and purchased at a time. The evaluation of most economic order quantity is to be purchased involves calculation of the following two costs: procurement cost or ordering cost or buying cost, inventory carrying cost. Procurement cost or buying cost. The cost includes expenditure made on crawling quotations, processing quotations, placing purchase orders, receiving and inspecting, verifying and payment of bills, other incidental charges, etc. Next comes the inventory carrying cost. This costs of expenditure made of insurance, storage and handling, obsolescence and depreciation, deterioration, taxes, interest. So we'll just see what is expression. First, when we are deriving for EOQ expression, first we'll find what is the total procurement cost per year. That is nothing but number of orders placed in a year into procurement cost per order. Next comes the inventory carrying cost per year. Average inventory into annual inventory carrying cost per unit. So total cost is nothing but procurement cost plus inventory carrying cost. So the total cost is minimum when procurement cost is equal to inventory carrying cost. So economic order quantity Q is equal to root 2 AP by C. Next. Then we'll try to see recap stores. Generally, unworked material is known as stores, and the place where it is housed is called the storeroom. Finished products ready for sale are called stock, and the place where they are kept called stock sale are called stock, and the place where they are kept called stock room. In small factories or concern, the storeroom and stockroom may be one and under the control of one officer, but in a big organization, both are separate and separately controlled. Holding all kinds of stores, materials, semi and fully processed goods in custody is known as storage. And the aspect of material control concerned with physical storage of goods is known as storekeeping. The responsibility of stores manager is to receive materials, to protect them in storage from damage or theft, to issue the materials in the right quantities at the right time and to the right place, and to provide the services promptly and at the least cost. Stores are generally the following categories: raw materials, consumable stores, inflammable stores like petrol, kerosene oil, chemicals like carbide, sulfuric acid, etc., machinery and equipment, hand tools, furniture, finished products, scrap, unserviceable stores, empties and packages, inspection and measuring instruments, stationery. Next comes the store organization. The structure of the store's organization depends upon the size of the industry. If it is a small unit, a storekeeper with a few clerks and workers manage the stores. But the store connected with a big industry with thousands of items, a store superintendent and a top man, general manager takes the responsibility of the stores. The storekeeper is an important figure in the organization and he is as much responsible for articles in his charge as a cashier for cash. He should therefore take steps to reduce thefts and wastage of material to a minimum. So now we'll see what are the functions of storekeeper, or we can tell what are the functions of stores department. To identify all the items of stock and plan the store for optimum utilization of the cubic space, to receive all types of materials, goods, and equipment, including manufactured products in the factory, and record them with a cost, correct positioning of all materials and supplies in the stores, to maintain stocks safely and in good condition by taking all precautions to ensure that they do not suffer from damage, theft, and deterioration, to issue items to the users only on the receipt of unauthorized stores requisitions, to record updates and issue of materials, to check the bin card balances with physical quantities in the bins, to make sure that the stores are kept clean and in good order, to prevent unauthorized persons from entering the stores, to inform the purchase department whenever the existing stock of any item is likely to be exhausted for its purchase, to coordinate and cooperate with the purchasing, manufacturing, inspection PPC departments. Next. Next, we'll just see about the store's location. By locating the stores, the size of the industry to which it is attached is taken into account. And other factors considered are the bulk of material that arrives to the stores and the amount of material to be handled during issues to the various shops daily. So, the stores may be located as centralized stores and decentralized stores. In small factories, it is desirable to centralize the stores so that these may be brought under the control of one storekeeper, and storeroom should be near to the place where the material is to be used. If there are several manufacturing departments, the store will most conveniently situated where it is nearer to all departments. This will reduce handling and a lot of manual work is eliminated. This type is called the centralized stores. In large factories where there are several departments, each using a different types of materials, it becomes beneficial to separate the stores. This type is known as a decentralized stores. Okay. Next, we'll recap what is a store's layout. After deciding on the degree of centralization of storage areas, blocking out subgroupings of materials and carefully determining the relative locations of each area, there remains the detailed layout of storeroom space. The internal arrangement of a store's depot is known as a store layout. The efficiency of storekeeping depends how and in what way the internal arrangement is planned. A good layout aims at the following: maximum utilization of the available space, greater efficiency of the store's depot, easier accessibility to all the materials, maximum security of all the materials carried and records maintained, greater economy and use of lesser time in receipt, movement placement and issue of materials, minimization of spoilage, damage, and other kinds of losses. Now, to design a good layout, the factors to be considered in designing are: a section adjacent to the store should be kept reserved and the receipt of materials and for its inspection before storage. Store layout should be such that it provides easy receipt and storage and disbursement. Next, the available floor space is split as receiving section, inspection area, bulk storage area, and storage space, issue issue area, scrapyard, etc. Layout should ensure easy movement of materials, good housekeeping, sufficient space for men and material, optimum use of storage space, judicious use of storage equipment such as shelves, racks, and pallets. Layout should provide proper preservation to protect from rain, sun, humidity, moisture, insects, white ants, and biological, physical, and natural deterioration. Clear and adequate lighting should be there to ensure better working environment in stores. The place should be decided depending upon the type and characteristics of materials. Proper placement of the fire extinguishers, sandbags, buckets to minimize accidents due to fire. Entry of unauthorized persons into the storeroom should be strictly watched. Around the stores, a thorough passage should be provided for transportation of vehicles in and out of stores. Different types of materials are located in different points of stores. They are: raw materials are stored near the first operation, finished goods are stored in the proximity of shipping areas, inflammable materials such as acids, chemicals, petrol are stored away from the main store, cement should be stored in a dry place, iron beams of heavy cross section are stored in an open yard, frequently used materials such as bowls, mats, bush washers are stored near to the main entrance of the stores. Bulky and heavy materials are stored at the bottom of the racks, and light materials are stored at the bottom top of the racks. Precision instruments are kept in a separate room. Newly arrived material should be stored on the top of the old, etc. Now, next one. Protection of stores. Protection of stores from fire, rust and corrosion, dust, theft, weather, heat, cold and moisture is an important aspect of the storekeeping function. Each kind of material, such as textiles, rubber, goods, leather goods, metals, require its own kind of care. The following points should be remembered in this connection. To protect goods from fire, inflammable should be kept away from the main stores. Gasoline and fuel oil should be stored in underground tanks. Explosives such as blasting powder and dynamite should be stored at a distance from all other buildings. Firefighting equipment such as fire extinguishers, high pressure water lines, buckets with sand should be made available in all the sections of the stores to protect goods from dust. Storage should be in boxes or in closed cabinets. Finished products are to be kept in dust-proof rooms. All the goods must be placed with sufficient covering over them. Protection against weather. Some of the items which are stored in the sheds outside the stores are to be protected from weather. They are to be covered with a tarpaulin and plastic cloth, as the material is likely to be damaged if they are directly exposed to the atmosphere. But items like cement should be kept in closed sheds with well protected from moisture. Next, protection against theft. The entire store should be kept under reliable locking system. A security guard should be appointed. Every branch of store should be securely behind the iron mesh. Nobody should be allowed to enter the stores without permission. Material should be issued only on the authorized requisition. Next comes the storage equipment. Since the stores department has to handle an enormous variety of materials, extensive range of storage equipments has become a necessity in modern times. So steel storage equipment is more satisfactory and renders better service than the wooden one. Steel equipments are more durable, stronger, easier to clean and more and or less fireproof as compared to the wooden equipments. It is rather impossible for rats, mice, white ants, etc. to have their approach up to the materials kept in steel almirahs, and they are closed once they become vermin proof as well. Various storage equipments are used in the stores for storing different items. Open type removable bins. Materials like MS bolts, nuts, rivets, washers are stored in boxes known as bins. These boxes are kept on the tables with the code numbers duly marked on the tables. Generally, these open bins are placed near to the entrance of stores as the material stored in them is frequently used. Stock racks with drawer inserts. This rack, it is a big almirah with number of drawers. Small and costly items which do not move so frequently are stored in these drawers. The code numbers are written as on the almirah and as well as on the individual drawers. Racks for stocks and heavy materials. These are open racks with a provision to store heavy materials and spare parts, steel pipes, etc. Wire deck storage for heavy boxes. These are open type shelves generally made with wire deck. These are used for storing any heavy boxes, packing material, etc. Stocking racks for bins. These are generally used to arrange a number of bins on a rack. Each bin may be hanged with a bin card to know the details of the material in the bin. Racks for bars and pipes. These are open racks meant for accommodating heavy rods and pipes of different sizes. It constitutes a stand with arms to receive the stock bar. Heavy section bars are placed in the bottom of the lighter bars are kept in the upper portion. Next comes the store records. In order to maintain an efficient record of stores, the following books and records will be required, and these are maintained separately for different types of materials. Inward and outward registers. When the material is dispatched by the supplier through the rail, he will send its receipt issued by the railway authority called the RR. On the production of that receipt on railway, material can be received. A separate register is maintained by storekeeper in which daily Entries of RR received or made and known as inward register. In the same way, when some material goes out of the store to other place, entries of RR are made by storekeeper in the outward register, and that RR is sent to the customer by the production of which he can take the material from railways. Stock register. Dead stock or non-consumable register. This is maintained by storekeeper in which entries of non-consumable articles such as machinery, equipment, furniture are made. Consumable register. In this, storekeeper maintains record of consumable stores received such as coke, diesel, oil, uh, kerosene, petrol, lubricants, etc. Daily receipt register. This may be in a register or loose or in a leaf form. Whenever any material comes into the stores, it is entered date-wise in the daily receipt register. The material is then inspected and if found suitable is entered into stock register. If the material is found to be defective, it will be rejected and either the material or its report will be sent to the supplier. The incidental charges that are incurred will also be noted in daily receipt register. Issue register. This may be in a register or loose leaf form. All stores issued are entered date-wise in it by storekeeper. From the receipt and issue register, store's ledger is prepared by accounting section. Store ledger. It is a detailed record of the receipt and issue of materials with respect to quality, quantity, and value of all the items kept in the store. So a separate sheet or card is maintained for each article. It contains the name, description, bin number. It records the receipts, issues, and balance in hand of each article at the time of physical verification. Verifying officer, after inspection, gives recommendations in the remarks column. Surplus stock register. Sometimes such purchases are made which do not come in use for a long time, say 3 years. Such materials are then declared surplus and recorded on a separate register called the surplus stock register. Thus, unnecessary material is removed from the stock register to facilitate easy handling. Next comes the suspense register. Suspense register: the defective items or items received in excess should not be placed in the bins but in suspense cell and are entered in the suspense register. Condemned article register: unserviceable material after use or obsolete material which is authorized to be condemned by authorized persons is entered in this register and will be shown as stock until disposed of. Loan register: sometimes non-consumable materials are issued from store or loaned for temporary period by producing a slip of authority. Before issuing, material is entered in this register and signature of the bearer are taken in the register and slip of authority is kept safe. When the material comes back, slip is returned and entry of material received back is made in the loan register. Empty containers and package register. The record of empty containers and packages is kept in this register by storekeeper. They should be disposed of at a convenient intervals by auction or otherwise to the best of the advantage. The above mentioned are the various records which are kept by any storekeeper for easy and smooth handling of the stores. So these are the various records important for efficient maintenance of the stores. In the next class, I will tell about the bin card, cardex method, what is a purchase management, what are the objectives of purchase department, functions of purchase department, what are the methods of purchasing, and what are the different purchase records and purchasing procedure. Okay, hope you all understood the class for today. So, what all we have discussed today? We have discussed what are the duties of storekeeper, what are the responsibilities of storekeeper, what are the location of stores, what are the layout of stores. So, as I told, I'll be completing the chapter in the next class covering bin card method, cardex method, purchase management, objectives of purchase department, functions of purchasing department, methods of purchasing, next purchase records, purchasing procedures, and purchase records. Thank you, students.